Hey guys, Matt from Mr. Matt's Arcade here. Today I'm going to do a video on how to add cores, new RetroArch cores, to the Alpha 3D Max game board. I've had a lot of people request information on how to do this, so I wanted to go ahead and give you a general overview on how to add cores. And also I'm going to show you how to specifically add the Dirksimple RetroArch core so you can play Dragon's Lair and Cliffhanger. I'm going to include links in the description on how to download. I'll include a link in the description to download the necessary files to add the Dirksimple core and the necessary game files. So you can follow the link and download it. And it's a zip file. You extract it and you'll have these files right here. So the first thing we're going to do is add the core to your SD card. So here's Dirksimple _ libretro.so. You right click on that one and do copy. Then go back to your SD card. Once you put in an SD card reader and into your computer, you'll find a folder that says retrolib. Your file contents should look similar to this, might look a little different as I've added and changed things on my versions. But you go to the retrolib folder. This is where all your RetroArch cores live. And then you will do right click and paste. And I already have the file in here, so I'm going to do skip. But I would copy the Dirksimple RetroArch core in here. Here's a list of cores that are already on the game board. A lot of these aren't used, so if you're trying to add a new system or a different core, come take a look in here first, because it might actually already be on the game board. There's plenty on here that you could add. So after you copy your core to the game board, to the SD card, you head over to the lib folder. In here you'll find your startgame.sh. I use Notepad++ as my editor. It seems to work best on this type of files. So you would want to open up the startgame.sh file. It will look something like this. This is a list of all the cores that are currently available on the game board. Here is the emulator number or game type number of all the different cores. So you would scroll down to the bottom and you would make a new entry and just follow the format of the ones above it. So here is Dirksimple. So you type in a number that's not been used. It doesn't have to go in order. So I did number 24, parentheses, next line, game _ lib, all capitalized, equals, and then here is the name of your core, Dirksimple _ libretro.so. After you make that entry, go up to File and Save, and you want to remember what the number is that you used. Then the next step is we will copy the ROMs or game files to the game board. So in this case, it's actually movie files, but for other cores and systems, it would be game files. You select both of the ones from the download, right click, copy, go back to your SD card, head over to the game folder. All these folders are your different ROM folders. Most of them are self-explanatory, other than CPS is both your MAME and your Final Burn Alpha ROMs. So you would right click, new folder, and you would do a new folder that says Dirksimple, capital D, capital S. Then you would open that folder. In here is where you put the movie files. So you do paste, and I already have them in here, so I'm going to do skip. Then the next step would be adding the entries to the game's database. So you go to the res folder. This is where you'll find your games database. You can either add the entries manually or check out my other videos, and you can use the AlphaMax 3D Games Database Insertion Program, which still requires you to input information, but it's much simpler than manually doing it. So we'll open the games database file. I use DB Browser for SQLite. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what you would do to add games. Check out my other videos for both how to do it manually and how to use my program. But you go over to Browse Data, Table EN. Here is your display name. You would scroll down to the bottom, do New Record, and here we go. Here's the ones I entered. So you'd enter one for Dragon's Lair. I like to use a suffix on all of mine to make it more organized on the games list. So Dragon's Lair -arcade, Cliffhanger -arcade. And then you go over to Table EN Match. This is your search name. Scroll down to the bottom, do New Record, and then you would type in, where are we here? So you type in the same ID number, game number, and then your search name, how you'd like it to show up in the search. Then you would go over to Table Game, scroll down to the bottom, do New Record, and where are we? Here. So Game ID, that is your game number. Game, that is your ROM name, or in this case your movie name, which is Lair, one of the movie files we copied onto the SD card. The next one is your suffix, which is your file format. In this case, it's .ogv. For arcade games, it would most likely be .zip if you were adding an arcade game. Your video ID, same as your game ID. I'm not going to go over each one of these. Check out my other videos for more information on what each one of these categories is. But then you go over to game type. This is your emulator number. This is the number of the RetroArch core that we added back here in the startgame.sh. So there's 24 as the Dirksimple core. So 24, and then you go over here to path. This is the location of your ROM, or in this case, movie, SD card /SD card /game /Dirksimple. And at the end here is your search name again that you put in. After you're done entering your information, you would go up to Write Changes, and that would save the changes you just made. And then you can close out of that. Again, check out my other videos for more detailed information on adding games. Alright, so now we have added the core to the SD card, added the ROMs and our movie files. We've added an entry into the startgame.sh file. For the Dirksimple, Dragon's Lair, and Cliffhanger, there is one more thing we need to add. So go back to that zip file that you downloaded, and you'll see a folder called Dirksimple. Right-click, copy. Now you go over back to your SD card. Go down to RetroArch. Go over to System. And then you would right-click and paste. I already have it in here, so I'm going to skip that. But this is the RetroArch System folder. This is where you would find BIOSes for different games. Like these ones are all the PlayStation BIOSes. And for MAME, here's MAME 2003. Here's where you find the artwork, high score, and VRAM files. All the additional files that your specific core needs to run, you would put in the RetroArch system folder. For Dirksimple, data, games, there's Cliffhanger. Here's the files that are needed to run the Cliffhanger game, some icons, as well as the game.lua, which is where most of the magic happens on this. And then here's Lair. This one needs some wave files, and then the game.lua file again. You can actually open the game LUA files, and there are a few things that you can change in there. I haven't really played with it yet, but you can adjust the number of lives you start with, and I think how hard it is. And if you open up the file, it's pretty self-explanatory on where to change things if you wanted to do that. Like I said, I haven't really played with that yet. So there is everything that we needed to add a new core, and specifically add the Dirksimple core, Dragon's Lair, and Cliffhanger. So I found the Dirksimple core at this GitHub, Zoltan's GitHub. Here is a list of ARM v7 HF Neon cores. I haven't tested these, but most of these should work on the AlphaMax 3D. So here is a bunch of more cores you can add. Another place to find cores that are already compiled is cores that work for the PlayStation Classic. Most likely will work on this game board as well. So if you see down here, here's Dirksimple. That's where I got this core. I plan on going through some of these cores and testing out some other ones, because there's some neat ones in here that I want to add. I want to add Doom and Duke Nukem and some other games like that just for fun. And then I'm sure there's some other cores in here. A few other versions of MAME that you could try, and some other stuff. But also remember, there already are some additional cores on the game board. They just need to be added to the startgame.sh file. Also include a link to this. This is the GitHub for the Dirksimple core. It explains what it is, how it was made, and what you need to run it. So what I did is I went to archive.org and found the MPEG file and the OGG audio file needed for Dragon's Lair and Cliffhanger. And then I used FFmpeg to convert those two files into a single OGG file that Dirksimple needs. And I followed the information right here on how to do that. There are a couple of audio skips in the ones that I included. I don't know if I messed something up or that's just the way that it is. So you could actually try to reconvert the files yourself, and maybe you'd have better luck. Currently, only Dragon's Lair and Cliffhanger are supported. Unfortunately, nothing else is supported at this time. There you go, guys. That is a quick rundown on how to add cores in general to the Alpha 3D Max game board, as well as how to specifically add the Dirksimple core, Dragon's Lair, and Cliffhanger. Check out the links in the description for all the files and websites you need. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it helped. If you liked it, please hit that like button and leave me a comment. Let me know if it worked for you. Let me know if there's any other videos you'd like. I don't have a lot of time, so it's hard for me to do videos, but if you guys request them, I will give it a shot. Hope this helped, and as always, game on, my friends.